All right, everyone. I hope everyone in America is really safe at the moment because it's really bad, especially in Los Angeles, as a response to these anti-ICE protesters. Donald Trump has gone and called the National Guard, 2,000 of them. 700 Marines have been deployed now there as well. And yeah, it's getting really bad. I've also heard that a journalist from, I think, from Australia, she got shot by the LAPD with rubber bullets. But still, I think that Australia's not going to take that kindly. And yeah, this has gone on really bad now. Give a protest because he's basically mobilizing the protesters even more. And Donald Trump, he has the audacity to call them insurrectionists when he himself mobilized, incited, and encouraged an insurrection on January 6, 2021. Then he got in and pardoned them all. Now, as you can see here, you're going to see a lot more protests this week, albeit a Saturday as well. No King's Day. We're going to talk about that in a bit. The anti-ICE protests held coast to coast after LA unrest as national movement grows. Activists plan more events Tuesday in New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Atlanta, and probably more places as well. This is a long time coming. Ever since these ICE bastards started wreaking havoc across the communities, but now since we targeted LA, it's getting even more. It's just something just clicked, and all people are now joining together in solidarity with their community, with the migrants, and for people in general. So yeah, protests roiled Los Angeles over the weekend were set to spread Tuesday across the country. Activists plan demonstrations in New York, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, and elsewhere. Rallies protesting ICE raids and the government's immigration policies have spread across California and beyond this week. A series of what do you mean by that? No Kings demonstrations are planned nationwide for Saturday. I think it's going to be in all 50 states, all across various cities and towns. And I hope it's going to be like massive. Some 56 people were arrested in LA over the weekend as some 700 Marines and more than 2,000 National Guard troops were deployed by Donald Trump in response to protests that began on Friday, sparking an extraordinary showdown with California Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass, who strongly criticized the move as executive overreach. Excuse me. The state of California is suing the Trump administration over the National Guard deployment, calling the move unlawful. Yeah, it's not, of course, it's unlawful, it's immoral, it's insane, and everything else. It's disgusting. A temporary restraining order was added to the lawsuit by California Attorney General Rob Bonta over the decision to federalize members of the National Guard and the Marines in the streets of Los Angeles. Yeah, both the National Guard and the Marines should have said no. Should have told Trump to fuck off, and the LAPD as well. The President and Secretary Pete Hegseth have made clear he's not the president. He's a false president. He's just a fascist. Publicly and privately, that the Marines are not in Los Angeles to stand outside the federal building. Bonta wrote in the filing, they will work in active concert with law enforcement in support of a law enforcement mission and will physically interact with or detain civilians. Yeah, but it's not lawful though, is it? NBC News counted at least 25 rallies and demonstrations coast to coast. Some of them involved only a few dozen participants. It was going to be a lot more on Saturday, while others attracted thousands to make a stand against the detention and removal of suspected undocumented migrants. Many protesters across the country were trade unionists, calling for the release of SEIU California President David Huerta, who was arrested on Friday. So these are the protests since Monday, Monday and tomorrow. But come Saturday, everything's going to be covered up, and maybe even beyond Saturday. Like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Santa Ana, San Jose, San Diego. So a lot of other places: Kentucky, Maryland, Illinois, Massachusetts, and so on. Memphis, Tennessee, Dallas, San Antonio, Seattle, to California and the West Coast. Thousands reportedly marched through San Francisco on Monday. Second day of anti-ICE protests there. ICE, they're complete fascists as well. They need to be removed. The San Francisco Chronicle reported. The SFPD stated that on Twitter that the demonstration was overwhelmingly peaceful, but added that two small groups broke off and committed vandalism and other acts at the end of the night. The department said it made an unspecified number of arrests. At least 60 people were arrested at a march in San Francisco on Sunday for failing to respond to a dispersal order, NBC Bay Area reported. It's important for us to show everywhere, because what happened in LA is happening all over the country, absolutely, said Jean Joy of Berkeley, who attended Sunday's protest with a sign that read, CA, National Guard and Newsom protect our First Amendment rights. Right. Jesse McKinnon of Pleasant Hill carried a sign that read, Softball Dad against tyranny. NBC LA reported that at least 1,000 people joined a protest at a federal building in Santa Ana, Orange County. The number of arrests is unknown, but they came after police declared the gathering unlawful. Hundreds gathered at City Hall in San Jose on Sunday, and two separate protests occurred in San Diego. This policy hits close to home. Our family is a family of immigrants, Vanessa Garcia Morales of San Jose told NBC Bay Area. The whole country is immigrants or immigrant descended, not including Native Americans, of course. Referring to one of those two sons who was at the rally, she said, his life is at risk. Everyone's life is at risk. Truthfully, with the policy that's happening, he can very much be targeted by just the way he looks. Yeah, that says that now. I say protests took place across the Portland, Oregon metro area, as well as in Seattle and Las Vegas. California House Democrats hosted a Tuesday news conference to discuss ICE arrests and the deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles. Republican Nanette Barragan, however you say that, represents the city of Paramount, where the protest started, said they were already under control where National Guard members arrived. The Sheriff's Department in Paramount got it under control, Barragan said. Overnight in Los Angeles, the LAPD got it under control as well and cleared out the situation when all of a sudden the National Guard showed up. We know this is intended to create chaos, to escalate the tensions. Yeah, of course it is. And Donald Trump says, oh, the protesters are the ones doing it. No, you are, Donald Trump. Representative Nancy Pelosi compared the situation to the Jan 6th insurrection. She said Trump would not send the National Guard even when she and other lawmakers begged him to. Yeah, of course he wouldn't, because he was part of it. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell shared the same sentiment with NBC News, saying that the department did not request the National Guard to be brought in. He said the National Guard's role, along with the Marines, is protecting federal employees and facilities, not aiding in protest response. The anxiety level is higher, probably because they're here, and the uncertainty of why they're here. Yeah, and ICE as well. He said, but they're not. They're not with us doing the job they're doing. or meant to be doing. In an interview with MSNBC, Mayor Karen Bass reiterated her previous statements about the National Guard not being needed in Los Angeles. She also criticized comments from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who called her a train wreck of a mayor, and border czar Tom Homan, who is Homeland Security Kristi Noem. Yeah, I don't know who that is. And border czar Tom Homan. Yeah, I've heard that name. He's apparently a proper Trumpist who said she could be arrested if she impeached law enforcement. Yeah, well, he wants to try and arrest Gavin Newsom, doesn't he? Because he's standing up to Trump. We are 12 months away from the World Cup. Yeah, and that's going to also, well, yeah, that's going to be like Berlin 1936 again, isn't it? If Trump gets his way, it's going to be proper Trump propaganda and the Olympics again, just like what Hitler did in 1936 in Berlin. World Cup and the Olympics both need to be boycotted if Trump is still in the power by then, which I don't think he will. And we're trying to bring our cities together to beautify our city. And look at what has happened now, Blay said. The White House instigated this by having ice raids in our city. Yeah, shameful. Shame on you. They are telling us that we're going to have raids for the next 30 days. Disgraceful. So it's going to be like 30 days of protest, is it? Yeah, hopefully the people of LA send them packing long before there. We won't last 30 minutes, let alone 30 days. New York and the East Coast. At least 9 people were taken into custody in New York for a tense standoff between protesters and police at a rally on Monday, according to NBC New York. NYPD confirmed there were multiple arrests when people refused to comply outside Trump Tower in Midtown. And why should they comply? Why should they? Tell ICE to fuck off, shove a gun in their faces and say, "Oi, get off my doorstep," wherever. Before, a disorderly group was arrested at 6:50 p.m. for blocking traffic and refusing to comply. The event targeted ICE raids and the travel ban imposed on 12 countries worldwide this week again. Another travel ban, eh? Is that of a Muslim ban? Racist prick. With restrictions on people from 7 more countries. And how many countries are now going to are banning America because of Trump? Protesters also gathered in Boston, Washington, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. Texas, the South, and the Midwest. More than a dozen protesters were arrested in Austin, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said on Twitter early morning. Peter, protesting is illegal, but once you cross the line, you'll be arrested. While the ICE people are the ones crossing the line, Abbott wrote on Twitter, using the abbreviation for "fuck around and find out." See, you're a proper Trumpist, aren't you? At least 1 person was arrested on Monday in Dallas. Police said with charges pending as protesters and law enforcement met in a standoff that shut down a busy intersection. The Daily Texan reported that 500 gathered at a Texas Capitol on Monday, while hundreds gathered in San Antonio, according to Spectrum News 1. Abbott, referring to the deployment of National Guard troops to LA, said on Twitter, an organized assault has been waged against federal enforcement officials. Rallies and demonstrations also took place in Charlotte, Atlanta, Louisville, Memphis, Chicago, Detroit, and Oklahoma City. Noem signaled on Tuesday that she would continue the agency's program of raids and deportations, which, despite the widespread protest, yeah, you're just a toxic bitch, aren't you? ICE will continue to enforce the law. Noem said, yeah, but what yeah, they're not enforcing the law, they're enforcing terrorism. Yeah, so like I said, yeah. These protests are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And they've got no King's Day on Saturday. On also the King's official birthday, coincidentally. Yeah. And and hopefully on Saturday and this week as well is going to get massive and so on. This I think it's going to be the beginning of the end of Donald Trump. Thank fuck. What he's done with all these ICE raids and sending them National Guard and what have you, people have had enough. They're now finally standing up, and hopefully it's going to come to the stage where they're going to storm the White House, get him out, or one way or another. One way he's finished now. There's no coming back. It's the end. Goodbye, Trump. Goodbye. Nice knowing you. Not.